Hello, guys. Welcome to Ops Knowledge. So, today we'll be talking about FMEA. It's the lecture 3, and in today's lecture, we'll be talking about a use case of electric vehicle design and development. Let's talk about the context first. So, the context is a leading automotive manufacturer was developing a new electric vehicle model to ensure the reliability and safety of the vehicle's battery management system BMS. The engineering team conducted FMEA during the design phase. So, for the people who do not know what BMS or the battery management system is, so the battery management system is basically a system which guides your battery in charging and discharging, and also it monitors the battery life or the battery voltage and current readings. Also, it synchronizes your battery with the other components such as motor or the accelerator of the electric vehicle. Let's talk about the objective. So, the objective says identify the potential failure modes in the BMS, assess their impact on the vehicle performance and safety, and prioritize mitigation strategies. Let's talk about the process. So, we have 11 parts in the process. So, the first one is team formation, second one is system breakdown, third one is failure mode identification, fourth is effects analysis, fifth is potential causes, sixth is current controls, seventh is risk assessment or the RPN calculation, eighth is FMEA table creation, ninth is mitigation strategies, 10th is implementation and validation, 11th is documentation and iteration. Let's go to the next slide and understand about the team formation. So, generally, a cross functional team comprises of ideally 4 to 8 people. In specific, this case, an FMEA facilitator or the moderator is needed. What is a moderator? Who will take the discussion forward? The second one will be a design engineer who will be knowing each and every concept related to the design of the electric vehicle. The third one will be a software engineer. A software engineer is the person who will be basically running the softwares in the embedded system which are used in the electrical vehicle. The next will be a manufacturing process engineer. This person will be a subject domain expert of the processes which are being used while making an EV. So, a QA specialist will be needed, quality assurance specialist, to check the quality of the components which are being manufactured or the final quality of the electric vehicle. A safety engineer will be needed. Why? Because to have a safe environment is very important, and to ensure that a safety engineer will be needed. A supplier representative will be needed. Why? Because the company which is manufacturing an EV will be needing good quality of components from the suppliers. So for that sake, supplier representative will be needed, and customer representative will be required because we want to know what are the specifications which are given by the customers or what are the needs of customers. So for that, customer representative will be needed. So in our case, we have taken 7 team members, in which customer representative is one, moderator is one, design engineer is one, software engineer is one, manufacturing engineer is one, QA specialist is one, and supplier representative is one. And as we can see, this team formation criteria is also mentioned in SAJ 1739, which is an FMEA standard, and also AIAG FMEA standard. Let's go to the next slide and understand about the system breakdown. As we know that the electric vehicle is made up of multiple parts, so those parts have to be broken down, and in each part or module their failure mode is to be identified. So like in the first case, we have V&I sensors which are used to monitor the battery state of charge and the state of health. Battery cells, lithium ion storing energy. Thermal management system, cooling and heating mechanisms to maintain optimal battery temperature. Control software, algorithms for charge balancing, fault detection, and communication with ECU. Connectors and wiring, physical connections between components. Now let's go to the next slide and identify what are the failure modes. So, how it is done? We can have historical data from the EV models, like as we could see from the graph. It's not a real graph, but it's just an example. Supplier reliability reports, in how much reliable we could say that the supplier is, how much time he was able to fulfill our needs perfectly. Failure mode libraries and also the simulation and prototype results could be used for the failure mode identification. Now let's go to the next slide and understand what will be the effects of these failure modes. So effect analysis. So for V&I sensor, the effects could be incorrect state of charge estimation, overcharging, reduced range. Battery cells, it could be fire hazard, battery damage, vehicle shutdown. For TMS or the thermal management system, it could be battery overheating and reduced performance. For the control software, it could be uneven cell charging, reduced battery life, and power loss. For wiring, it could be intermittent power supply and system faults. Let's go to the next slide and understand about the risk assessment or the RPN calculation. So for this, for V&I sensor, we have given severity as 7, occurrence as 5 and detection as 4. So RPN comes out to be 140. For the battery cells, we have given severity as 10, occurrence as 4, detection as 3. So RPN comes out to be 120. For TMS or the thermal management system, severity as 8, occurrence as 3, detection as 4, RPN comes out to be 96. For the control software, severity as 6, occurrence as 3, and detection as 5. So RPN comes out to be 90. For wiring, severity as 5, occurrence as 4, detection as 3, RPN comes out to be 60. Let us assume that we have taken a threshold of 80. As we could see, the majority of the RPNs are coming more than 80. So these can be said as the critical problems. So potential causes. So for V&I sensor, the potential causes could be sensor drift, electrical noise, calibration error. For the battery cells, it could be overcharging, manufacturing defect, or external heat. For the TMS or the thermal management system, it could be pump failure or coolant leak. For control software, it could be software bug, extreme temperature interfaces. For wiring, it could be vibration and poor assembly. Let's go to the next slide and understand about the current controls or how we are currently controlling the situation. So for V&I sensor, currently pre-production calibration is being done and onboarding diagnostics is done. For battery cells, thermal sensors and fuse protection are used. For TMS, regular maintenance checks are done and the pressure sensors are used. Control software, code review and simulation testing is done. Wiring, we have vibration testing and quality checks. Let's go to the next slide and make the FMEA table. So in this table, as I have already told that we have divided FMEA into parts such as battery cells, voltage sensor, control software, thermal management system, connectors and wiring. So these are divided into items or function. So potential failure mode in each of these items could be, like in battery cells, it's overheating, thermal runaway. Voltage sensor, it is inaccurate voltage reading. Control software, it is charge balancing algorithm failure. Thermal management system, it is cooling system failure mode. Connectors, it is loose connection. So we have given for these items and potential failure mode, we have given SOD, that is severity, occurrence and detection, and their respective RPN values are calculated. So in the next slide, we could see the mitigation strategies, recommended actions. So for V&I sensor, introduce dual sensor redundancy to cross-check readings, improved noise filtering in sensor circuitry, conducted additional calibration during production. Battery cells, we have added redundant thermal sensors for early detection, enhanced cooling system capacity by 20%, strict supplier quality checks. For the thermal management system, we have upgraded to a higher reliability coolant pump, added leak detection sensors. For control software, we have developed temperature compensated algorithms, increased simulation testing under extreme conditions, conducted third party code reviews. For wiring, we have improved locking mechanism to withstand vibration, enhanced quality assurance during assembly. In the next slide, we'll be doing implementation and validation. So, for the implementation phase, certain design changes are made, such as updated BMS schematics, software code, manufacturing processes based on FMEA recommendations. These things are updated. So, for after the design changes are made, certain testings are to be done. So, accelerated life testing for battery cells, environmental testing for sensors and softwares, vibration and durability test. After testing, validation is to be done. And our validation said that post mitigation test reduce failure occurrences. This is a positive sign. So, yes, we are okay and tested. Let's go to the next slide and understand document and iteration. So, after we have made an FMEA table or the document, after that has to go through multiple iterations to reduce the RPN value after taking those mitigation strategies into consideration. In this one, the table is quite similar. Only the values of RPNs have decreased after using those mitigation strategies or the action steps that we took. As we could see, FMEA was documented in a centralized database accessible to design, manufacturing, and quality teams. Why these three teams? Because these are the core members of the FMEA team. Now, in the document and iteration, to visualize this in a proper manner, we have taken RPN old and RPN new and made a spider chart out of it. You can call it spider chart or radar chart. So as we could see that in the previous, that's the blue area, it's quite bigger, quite riskier, more riskier. And the orange one shows the new RPN. So it shows that the area has decreased. So the risk has also decreased. The team scheduled a periodic review to update the FMEA because FMEA is a live document, so it has to go through periodic reviews and multiple iterations. This document or the FMEA document could be given to the auditor of ISO 26262. And this ISO is an international standard for functioning safety of electrical and electronic systems in road vehicles, which is quite needed for the electric vehicles. Thank you for being with us. This is all for today.